Welcome to the ERP SEAL podcast. My name is Tim Rodman. Today is Wednesday, June 10th, 2026, and this is episode number 174. You can find related links for today's episode up on the screen there at erpseal.com/episode 174. And today's episode will be a shorter one. It's hello, erpseal.com, and goodbye to augforums.com. This will be a shorter episode. I just wanted to do a podcast version of this. I've written up a much longer blog post, and I'm going to show that on my screen in a second here, but I wanted to do an episode so it gets into the list of podcast episodes, and I have this information conveyed to the podcast medium in addition to the written blog post. Also didn't time this very well. I'd scheduled this for 6 o'clock Eastern time and didn't get in the shower in time after hitting the gym. So I'm still covered in sweat. Sorry about that. But here we go. Let's launch into it. So basically this is just an episode to point out that I have now moved everything on augforums.com to read-only mode. And I've launched a new site called erpseal.com. The main public-facing content on erpseal.com will be the podcast that I've already been doing for a while. So I'm not going to renumber the podcast. I'm just continuing the number sequence with episode 174 now and just changing the name of it. That's all. Nothing fancy there. But let me go ahead and pull up the blog post just so I can remember some of the stuff that I wanted to point out. I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Let me get that shared up here. All right, so here's the homepage at augforums.com. And if we scroll down, I put a link to what is the last post, and the button's called Thank You. You click that, just takes you to augforums.com/thank-you. And this is the last blog post that I'm doing on augforums.com. It's not goodbye to the Acumatica ecosystem. Acumatica is going to be for a very long foreseeable future the ERP that I know best at a technical level, but I'm taking this opportunity to expand out into the broader mid-market ERP ecosystem with a new site at erpseal.com. That's my focus going forward. Got a nice little AI generated image there. Got 4 main sections. First is a little bit of an introduction, pointing out that the site here at augforums.com is going to continue to exist. It's not going to go away. There's a lot of content on there that I've heard people still like to reference, so I'm going to keep it out there. You'll be able to find it. You'll be able to click through the forums, but I've just moved the forums to read-only mode, so there's no contributing any new content, which, to be honest with you, has not happened a lot anyways. So actually, if you even scroll down, you can see it on the right-hand side. The last post was a month ago, then 2 months ago, then 3 months ago, 3 months ago. So there hasn't been a lot of activity here anyways, and there's a lot of technical stuff that is just kind of a pain in the neck for me on the back end to keep the thing going. And just much simpler to shift it all over to read-only mode. But the site will continue to exist. The email address will continue to work, although you'll probably notice my replies will increasingly come from my new email address. Instead of tim@augforums.com, you'll start to see replies from tim@erpseal.com, but both emails will continue to exist. Then one thing I've realized since launching this just on Monday, a couple days ago, I've realized that actually a lot of people are interested in the Discord server, which we launched back in January at the Acumatica Summit. And I've really enjoyed it. It's been a nice change of pace, a different way of interacting. Instead of the more structured way of doing forums where you have discussion topic and replies and another discussion topic, and it can seem very fragmented. Discord is if you don't know what Discord is, very much like Slack or Teams. You have some channels and you just communicate in a flat list there. I'm not sure, if we get a bunch of conversations going on there, it might get kind of noisy. There's also a way to do forums in Discord, so we could move to that. I don't know. But essentially just another way to interact, and doing it on the Discord server allows me not to have to deal with the infrastructure at all. So I don't have the headache of managing that. It's all handled by Discord. So you can click this link here, augforums.com/Discord. It'll take you to that link there, and that just does a little bit of an explanation of what Discord is. You just have to create an account on discord.com, and then here's the link to join the specific augforums.com Discord server. So feel free to do that. That will be my main way, I think, of interacting with the Acumatica community, just not on augforums.com. And the community.acumatica.com site, I think, is a huge reason why this thing has kind of fizzled out over the years, last several years. And so yeah, let's just lean into where we're at today in 2026. We got the Discord server, which is kind of a different way of communicating. You got community.acumatica.com, and the augforums.com content is not going anywhere. And if there was ever a need to fire that back up in the future, like if for some bizarre reason community.acumatica.com went away, you could always fire it back up in the future. So we got the Discord server, and other than that, erpseal.com is my main focus going forward. I did a lengthy section here to wax nostalgic on the last 13 years. 13 years is a long time, and I talk about that. I'll scroll through that for now. I talked about some lessons learned over the past 13 years. And then at the bottom, I get to the erpseal.com moving forward. So what's next? If you scroll down here, actually, if you go to the erpseal.com homepage, you'll see just got a simpler look here. And I nailed down 5 characteristics that are important to me that I think are kind of embody the approach that I take to mid-market ERP learning. You can see the tagline up on the top is very simple. It's mid-market ERP learning. So the idea is serving the broader mid-market ERP ecosystem. And taking these 5 characteristics, actually, I got them from the characteristic of a seal, the animal, a seal. I've always thought I like the idea of putting an animal name in a website name just because it's relatable. And I went with a seal because of these characteristics. I stretched it a little bit, but for the most part, these are kind of characteristics of a seal animal. I also like that seals are native to my hometown of San Diego, so that's kind of cool. And then we've got a nice little, this is an AI generated image. I just put it together real fast to have something. And then you've got kind of continuing with that ocean theme. You got the logo in the upper left. So that's it. It's real simple on the homepage. But here's those characteristics listed out in the blog post as well, those 5 characteristics. And I guess for the sake of the podcast, the audio part of it, I'll just go ahead and read through them. So the first characteristic is curious and observant. An ERP seal looks beyond transactions and dashboards to uncover patterns, root causes, trends, and opportunities hidden in ERP data. The second characteristic is approachable and humble. An ERP seal is not an expert, but a professional learner who communicates complex ERP concepts to others without ego or intimidation. Number 3, communicates with honesty and integrity. An ERP seal presents ERP data truthfully, explains assumptions clearly, and prioritizes clarity over spin. Number 4 is agile with agency. So basically just 2 different words on this one, but putting them together. Agile means adapting quickly to changing situations. Agency is belief that you can influence outcomes through your own actions. Then the 5th characteristics, the final one, is social and collaborative, but not intimidating or hierarchical. An ERP seal bridges the gaps between ERP systems, artificial intelligence, and humans without hidden agendas and without being manipulative. So there's my characteristics of an ERP seal. And I also like to key in on this phrase right here, that an ERP seal aspires to these characteristics. It's not that you need to feel like you do all of this in order to join this community. It's just something to aspire to. This is kind of the vibe you're going to get on the erpseal.com website and this podcast, which I think is always been the case. I've just taken some time to define it. So that's where it's really not a new podcast. That's why I'm continuing the same episode numbering and just giving it a new name. That's all. And if you scroll down here, if you want to get updates, you can put in your information. You can see here there's a long list of ERP systems to choose from, or at the very bottom, you can choose not listed if I need to add another one to the list. And let's see, am I missing anything? Oh, yeah, down here, I'll probably be adding maybe another option or two here, but you don't have the choice to unsubscribe from the general updates. These are be pretty infrequent, but just general updates about the site. And then you do have the option if you'd like to get an email notification about upcoming live broadcast podcast episodes. This is something I've wanted to have out there for a long time, but I figured I would just wait until the new site to do it. So it's finally there. So now I have a mechanism to know who would like an email when there's an upcoming live broadcast. Since I do this podcast in a live broadcast format, it's always something that you could attend live if you'd like to and be able to add comments in the comments area on either LinkedIn or on YouTube where I broadcast to, if you wanted to participate in the discussion and help make the episode better through your comments and questions. So that's a way to get a heads up on when there will be upcoming episodes. So that's it for the new page. Back to the new site, then back to the blog post. There was one other thing. Oh yeah, so in addition to the 5 SEAL characteristics, I also like that some people might think of a Navy SEAL when they hear SEAL. And so I like that connotation as well. I included some Navy SEAL quotes that I enjoy. I also like that, actually, if you want to become a Navy SEAL, every Navy SEAL goes through basic SEAL training on Coronado Island in San Diego. So that's kind of another cool tie to my hometown. And did I put this in here? I don't remember if I did. Oh, yeah. Fun fact about that, or maybe not so fun fact about that. Only 20 to 30% of people who enter the training program actually make it through to become Navy SEALs. It's quite intense. I know someone who's done it, and what got him was he eventually fell asleep like in the bathroom because they keep you up for an insane amount of time. And so he didn't make it through. But it's a very respectable anyone who makes it through and becomes a Navy SEAL. So I like that connotation. And then let's see, I got some other stuff to talk about. Oh yeah, this is the other main thing I wanted to highlight. So the ERPSEAL.com site is just focused on 3 things. First is public videos. That includes this podcast live broadcast. And the more I've been thinking about this, I was thinking about doing some other video content, but the more I think about it, I think it is just going to be the podcast. That'll be it. That'll be the public piece. Then the second piece is private video training courses. I've already got a course up here on ogforums.com that you can see under the paid area called the GI course. I'm going to move that over to ERPSEAL.com. And I've got some other courses that I'd like to put on there as well. That'll be a key focus and part of the core of ERPSEAL.com. It's all about mid-market ERP learning. And to put effort into that, you need a way to get paid. So I will have paid courses on there, including the generic inquiry course for Acumatica. And I'm also going to do the Power BI workshop that I've done in person at a lot of places. I'm going to expand that content and deliver it as a video training course. And then I'd like to get into stuff like artificial intelligence. There's a ton of stuff going on, and it's all about learning, how to apply it at work. Also, like just general topics like ERP business processes, how to document, how to improve things. That's always been something I've been into. And other what I would call ERP adjacent topics. And what I realized is that you'll see I talk about that here. I realized that I've been into those areas for a long time anyways. So I've gotten further and further away from the Acumatica checkboxes and some of those configuration type things that are specific to the application. And I've gotten more into these adjacent topics like process improvement, business intelligence, including Power BI. And just those 2 broad topics right there, there's a lot. And then you throw in all the artificial intelligence stuff. Those are, gigantic topics that all of us dealing with ERP systems are having to deal with. Why I like to target the mid-market ERP community specifically, a lot of it has to do with company size. If you're a gigantic company running on SAP, Oracle, something like that, then you have a lot more structure and you don't really have as much creative freedom to do things, or the flip side is you don't have like the responsibility to come up with these initiatives. But when you're in this mid-market space, you're bigger than a company that might be running on QuickBooks that doesn't have a lot of systems that they're interacting with. But in this mid-market ERP space, you've got companies that are large enough where they have systems and that kind of infrastructure in place. But then there's also a lot of freedom for how you improve things in the business, right? And that's the type of person that I'm targeting with this erpseal.com website. And I think, a lot of it will probably just mainly be targeted at consultants, but I never like to exclude, make it a private thing. So, there's also a lot of people who work in customer sites that really get their hands on the ERP system and really get into the details of things. And they work like a consultant does. They just are employed full-time by a customer. So, either one is kind of the audience that I'm aiming at here. So I think that does it. That reaches the end. Oh yeah, there was one other adjacent topic, good old accounting. So I started my career off as a financial auditor at Deloitte in downtown Los Angeles. I got my CPA license. So I've got that accounting background. And that's always something that's kind of mysterious to a lot of people. So I do have the idea to create a course on that, like accounting 101 or accounting for dummies or something like that, where especially for ERP consultants that work on implementing ERP systems at companies, a lot of times you just need a little bit of accounting knowledge so you don't feel completely scared about that topic. And I think I could do a simple course that would fill that gap. So ERP adjacent topic, and something that's applicable to any company running a mid-market ERP system. So that's the move. This is the new site, erpseal.com. Podcast, got a new podcast page. I need to got some ideas for how to enhance this, but I might even make this front and center on the homepage. But you'll see there's a podcast page on the erpseal.com/podcast URL. And if you click into one of these, let's see if these work. Let's see. I think I have some for here. If you click on an episode, it'll open the episode page. Like I just clicked on erpseal.com/episode 171. You've got a little summary of the episode. You've got the embedded YouTube episode page that you can click to play the episode. And then, oh yeah, I picked a bad one. There should be related links in the bottom. Let me see if I got another one here. Let's try this one. I want to make sure it's working, to be honest with you. Let's see. I just did this a couple days ago. Let's see if this episode has one. There we go. So you will see related links underneath the actual embedded YouTube video with links to things that were discussed in that specific episode. So that's it. Making the podcast front and center on erpseal.com and continuing to serve the mid-market ERP community, but not just specific to Acumatica now expanding to serve the broader community with those ERP adjacent topics. And I think, maybe I never leave the Acumatica ecosystem in the sense of really successfully expanding out into another ecosystem. I'll never leave the Acumatica ecosystem, but even if I never successfully make significant inroads into any of the other mid-market ERP products, this at least gives me a way to do it. And I'm taking a shot at doing that because I think that a lot of the things that we work on in the Acumatica space are the same challenges that are worked on with SAP Business One, Microsoft Dynamics, Business Central, and other products like that. So I just, I'm giving it a shot to see if there's a way to have a broader community for these specific, these types of adjacent topics that are common across all of these mid-market ERP systems. So with that, I think that's it for today's episode. It ended up being longer than I thought, 20 minutes here, but we'll end it there. We've got a line drawn in the sand now that from episode 174 going forward, this is now known as the ERP Seal podcast. So thanks for being part of the journey, and we'll keep it going. Catch you next time.